All right, everybody. Sorry for that little pause. LinkedIn thought we weren't authorized to live stream tonight, even though I just set that up this morning. Anyway, welcome back to another All Things MSP Live. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Of course, we do start these about 5 minutes early, just so that the announcement kind of goes out that we've gone live. So, I didn't do announcements this week, so why don't we do a couple of those? I got some queued up here. Let me see if I can bring them up. All right. So last week we did have a live stream that was a little weird. I'm not going to lie. It was with ASCII. They were doing a Taste of Success here in Raleigh last week. Brad Gross was on the show. Nuso was on the show. And we had a couple of MSPs as well. It was a really fun time. What made it weird was just the fact that we were streaming from my iPhone. It worked, folks. I had okay signal. Wasn't great. Wasn't terrible, but it worked. Probably if you saw the short that I posted today, the video quality was not great, but the audio was good. So the most important part was there. Now, beyond that, last week's podcast was interesting. It's about skunkworks. If you don't know what skunkworks are, it's a term that was used by Lockheed before they became Lockheed Martin for a group of engineers who basically set up in a tent outside and worked on projects that were different, strange, weird, things that were not part of the regular program there at Lockheed. And so the word, kind of just has now become this term that we use for doing out-of-the-box thinking and projects that you normally wouldn't do as part of course of business, but sometimes the results can be interesting. And it's a good way to take some of those things that you've identified in your business and almost hand them off to some of your employees to see what they come up with. I think it's a really good idea because your employees get more engaged when they feel responsible for something like that. So if you have that summer slowdown that a lot of MSPs have, go ahead and check that out. See if there's something that you can accomplish, and that you can kind of hand off to get some out-of-the-box thinking from your employees. Now, a couple of vendor sponsor announcements. Heather Johnson has been named the CEO of Gozinta, so congratulations, Heather. Really excited for that. And Produce 8 has launched their MSP partner program. Now, I had the opportunity to talk with Marco Lavecchia today, and we recorded an office hours session that will be out soon about their MSP partner program. I think this is really kind of cool. And by the way, they are tonight's sponsor of the show, and I'll be doing an ad for them here in a minute. But I really think that for those MSPs who are looking for extra things to do for their clients that are highly valuable to their clients, this is one of those things where I think you can take technology as an MSP, introduce it to a client, and actually make a material difference in their business. Because yes, maintaining their systems, maintaining their security, all of that's important and extremely necessary. But to actually improve a client's business takes you to another level of being an MSP, something that I like to refer to lately as being their virtual CTO, where you're not just managing their technology, managing their infrastructure, you're actually researching and showing them how to use technology to improve specific things in their business, just like a chief technology officer would for any other business. So I think that's great. Obviously, something I think you should check out when we do the office hours, and look for that coming soon. All right. And then we also have, I think everybody heard of the CDK cyber attack this week. Folks, FTC safeguards are a thing. There are compliance that you need to be aware of, because car dealerships, this is something that every car dealership needs to be compliant with. It also boils down or comes down to accountants. Pretty much anyone who handles financial information, especially when it comes to loan origination, so think mortgage brokers, are going to need to comply with FTC regulations. And there are plenty of people out there who can help you with this kind of thing. Probably one of the best known around right now is Tim Golden with compliancerisk.io, compliance scorecard. Sorry, name changes. They're a thing. They're a sponsor of All Things MSP, and they've been on the show multiple times. I'm actually recording in office hours with Tim later in the week, so look for that probably in the next week or two to come out. But compliance, it's kind of the next cybersecurity, in my opinion, right? So it's something that you need to look at, something that you need to be doing, and I really hope that you get to it soon, because it's very valuable to your clients. And like I said, check out Compliance Scorecard. They'll definitely help you out with your compliance needs. So a word from our sponsor tonight, Produce 8. Knowledge workers are losing over 2 hours daily to collaboration overload and digital distractions. But MSPs can help fix this trillion-dollar problem. For 20 years, MSPs have provided essential communication technologies. Now they can empower clients with digital work analytics to enhance productivity. This is really big, guys. I don't think, you really need to see what they're offering to know what this is, but it's really a game changer for your clients. So learn how MSPs can become strategic advisors, driving business productivity and employee well-being. So head on over to atmsp.link/produce8 to discover new revenue streams, book a demo, and get your questions answered. Don't miss the opportunity to differentiate and grow your business. So lots of cool stuff going on there. Obviously, Produce 8, one of the sponsors of this show. Another sponsor is Easy DMARC. If you haven't started doing DMARC for your clients, again, another thing that you really, really should. And, so Easy DMARC, Microsoft joins Google and Yahoo in making DMARC mandatory, shifting DMARC compliance from optional to essential. I mean, we're talking about Microsoft, Google, and Yahoo, the three largest probably email providers in the world. So now's the time to seize the opportunity and monetize it. It's easy to partner with Easy DMARC, since, obviously the easy. It also makes monetization of DMARC easy. So contact them today, mention that you are part of the ATMSP crew. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. That's the pirate part of tonight's show. But you can go ahead and go over there. They'll give you 1 month free if you mention that you are an ATMSP crew member. And you can find them at atmsp.link/Easy DMARC. All right. You guys ready? Let's get this show started. I hit the button twice. What can I say? I love the intro. All right. Now, the other thing I want to do, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the comments. All right. We have Keith Nelson in the house. Keith, good to see you. Hopefully I'll be seeing you sometime soon, maybe at ChannelCon. Anybody going to ChannelCon here? Should be fun. Atlanta, the party I hear is at the Atlanta Aquarium. If you have not ever been to the Atlanta Aquarium, it's the best aquarium I've ever been to, and my wife and kids dragged me to a lot when they were younger. They have whale sharks. They have whale sharks in their tank. Amy and I actually went for 4th of July. So it's been just almost exactly a year since we went last year, and it was amazing. Definitely one of the things that I would check out at ChannelCon. And so, show up. And if you need a code or something to register, let me know. I'll shoot that out to you. Oh, I did forget. There was an article that I meant to post in the comments while we were talking about the FTC stuff. So let me just go ahead and throw that in there for now so that everybody has it. There we go. And it looks like that showed up. Oh, okay. On Facebook and YouTube. Okay. Which brings me to another thing, just a side thing I want to talk about. YouTube seems to be the best place to be watching the live stream lately. Facebook kind of messed things up, although it looks like Facebook is kind of working too. LinkedIn, probably the worst place because those comments just don't come over. Hopefully I am streaming live over there. It says I am. But anyway, let me bring this down here so I can read these comments a little bit more. All right. So Keith says it's still used for their contractors program. We do work for Skunkworks for our aerospace projects. Yeah, Keith, I kind of figured that you might, with all the stuff that you do. He says, I also think I've heard that before, managing the use of technology in business process to make it sticky and profitable. I'm going to try it. So for those of you who don't know, Keith has a slightly different business model than probably your average MSP. And he pretty much does exactly what I was talking about in terms of that virtual CTO type thing and providing solutions rather than just management. And he goes, see, knowing the world famous Eric Anthony has benefits. Sir, I think you are way more famous than I am, especially for us stealth guys. Okay, Keith, yeah, stealth, not exactly the word that I would use, especially when you post pictures of the limo ride to the airport when you're going to an event. Thank you, Sean Lardo. Anyway, and Keith says he has his tickets and plane and cigars for ChannelCon. So Keith, be seeing you there. And actually, Keith, you are not at IT Nation Secure, so I have somebody for you to meet when we get there. Degley's in the house. Degley, thank you for being here tonight. He says, well, hello there. Surprise. Degley, you're always welcome. Of course, love having you in the group. And Keith says, I made him a YouTuber. Keith, anytime, sir. Your wisdom that you have to share with this community is always welcome here, and I appreciate it. Okay, so I did have a couple of things I wanted to talk about tonight really quick. And so let me go ahead and pull that up. I have to switch views here. Make sure I can find the right one. There we go. All right, little all things MSP logo action there, but that's it. And by the way, don't leave. I only have 2 slides. We're going to do 1 slide now. We're going to talk about some stuff, and then I'll do the other side later. This was an interesting statistic, and maybe you saw the post I did in the group. I think it was late last week about AI, and that was a follow-up to a poll that I put in the group. Okay, and basically the poll. The results of that came out as a lot of you don't think that your clients are using AI. In fact, less than 10% of your clients are using AI, according to the poll. Now, according to Forbes, 77% of SMB businesses, your clients, are using AI. That's kind of a big disconnect. And I think if we're going to call ourselves managed service providers, we need to be managing all of the technology that our clients are using, and especially when it comes to AI, because it's new. Okay, that's one thing. Because it's new, it's kind of Wild West-ish, right? So you want to make sure that you are giving your clients guidance for that, for that. And guidance, one, and training would be another that you could do. And then in addition to that, you could also do what I've put together for you is an acceptable use and security policy, because there are also security things that you need to be aware of, in the usage of AI, because you could accidentally leak data. There's hallucinations. There's all kinds of security best practices, ethical uses of AI that could come into question, and things that you're going to want to do. Keith, very good point. He says, I saw it and thought it's because we don't ask the right questions, or the way you put it is we ask the wrong questions. We typically might ask, do you use AI? Which they have no idea, because AI is so, nebulous. But we should be saying, have you tried ChatGPT? Because the answer to one could be no. The answer to the other one could be yes. And if they're using ChatGPT, they're using AI, they're using a large language model, and they need to understand A, how to use it, B, the risks to using it, and then the best practices around using it as well. And Key says, same question, but it's in their language. Very true. And I know a lot of MSPs, one of the reasons why a lot of MSPs became good, grew nice businesses, is because they're good at translating from tech speak to people speak. And that's an important skill in this industry. And I think that the ones who can do that have really, really come out and done some of those things that facilitate that translation and communication. All right, we've got TJ. TJ says, hi, Eric, you are discussing the same points on AI that I question. How do we make sure the AI we use is safe, properly used, and dependable? I'm a very small MSP. Okay, so, you know what? The one thing I didn't do is, and I'll look for it, I'll find it here in a minute, is I didn't get the link for those things that I created for you guys. It's in the Facebook post. Actually, if you give me a minute, I'll just go look for it now. Come on, it's the big orange and red. Has a percentage on it. Wow, we posted a lot this week. Okay. Oh, and I even created a shortened link for it. There we go. Okay, so this is the two documents that I'm going to talk about tonight. In fact, probably a great time to go ahead and remove that and add this. Okay, so this is one of the documents in the ones that I just linked to. And this one is the step-by-step guide for AI training and policy. Okay, so it's 2 pages. It's real short. And it walks you through all the questions that you should, not all the questions, but the things that you should think of when you're developing these programs for your clients. And so it starts with assessment and understanding. You have to assess what they're doing now, and you have to understand the industry things that may affect them. Okay. There may be policies around how they can use AI because of the certain industry that they're in. There may be certain opportunities that they can take up. Marketing, I mean, for one thing, is a huge opportunity for using things like ChatGPT or Copilot, right? Anything where people are communicating, they can improve their communications sometimes with those tools. But you also have to be careful about how those tools are used. And one of the things that I came up with, that it's not listed in here, but it's one of the ways that you can use the assessment if you have this capability. If you're doing some type of DNS filtering for them, or website filtering or website tracking, typically what you can do is you can go in and you can run a report. And so you can find out by running those reports if they're using any websites that are, a large language model or some other type of AI-driven application. So that's what I recommend. Do that assessment and understanding. Follow this step-by-step guide. Develop a policy. And one of the things that I didn't think of until I started digging into this more was the ethical side of it, right? For a couple of reasons. There's, a lot of things that we talk about when it comes to how to use it or how to use it securely, or the risks of hallucination or wrong answers, things like that. But there's also an ethical question that sometimes you might need to ask and need to put into your policy when it comes to those types of things. So, they could be using that large language model, like ChatGPT, to create content that's misleading, aka marketing, right? We don't want to create marketing using ChatGPT that is A, false, or B, misleading, because that's not going to be good for the business. And if you're using it for your own marketing, hey, use it for marketing. Just make sure you're using it in an ethical way and you're not creating content that could be misconstrued. Design a training program. This is not hard. You guys have been using ChatGPT. You know how to use it. You already have probably developed some best practices around creating prompts. There are some, tools out there that can help you make uh, AI applications for your clients, like Hats AI. If you're not familiar with that one, it's HATZ.ai. An interesting one. But you can also use just ChatGPT. You can help them create these things. You can create your own GPTs in ChatGPT, and you can share them with your clients. I have several that I've created for all things MSP when I'm creating, social media posts for the different video content that we put out. I feed it the script. It gives me some ideas. Now, do I just copy and paste? No, I almost never just copy and paste. So use it as an idea generator more than just to copy and paste marketing stuff that it spits out. Anyway, so design and training program, implementation, integration. This can be project work if they actually have other things that they can use for this. Pilot programs actually help them engage with the AI, show them hands-on how to do it. And then I scrolled up too fast. And I will tell you, I do not like the preview program in the Mac that for viewing PDFs. I just learned this tonight, and how it scrolls. It's stupid. So I will be putting Adobe PDF Reader on here at some point. But that's support and troubleshooting that I wanted to point out. There are going to be questions. If 77% of SMBs are using AI, they're going to ask their IT person how to use AI, or they're going to ask support questions when they run into problems with AI. They're going to ask, you need to have answers. So in addition to training and policies for them, you need to make sure that your staff is up to date on them as well. And I think I said that in another live stream at some point. And then continuous monitoring and improvement. It's technology, folks. It's a rapidly growing, rapidly evolving piece of technology. So you're going to need to get in a feedback loop. This is one of the things you're going to want to talk to your users about when you're doing QBRs or regular business reviews. Then, the policy, because it's changing, the policies are going to probably need to be changed as well. So regular policy updates are probably going to be necessary too. And then, they may want advanced training. They may want to do more with AI. And in that case, it's a perfect opportunity to put together some training for them on how to effectively use AI for their specific use cases. All right. And then documentation resources. You guys know how to put documentation resources together. I don't need to go into that. And then the last thing here is I did put just a short outline for what could be a 90-minute training session with your clients. I would probably do this as maybe part of an extended QBR, maybe do kind of a bring in lunch for them and have them all sit in a room, because they'll probably bring in more employees, right? And then you can walk them through this training, answer any questions that they have. This is basic stuff, guys. I didn't mean for this to be exhaustive, because every one of you is going to have your own spin on this. Okay. So keep that in mind. Make it personal for your clients. That's where your knowledge and your expertise on their business comes into play. Okay. We've got a couple of comments here. Let's see. This AI information is much more than a 1-hour discussion point. Yes, absolutely. Can we have a follow-up session on this to discuss it in more detail and show some examples? TG? We absolutely can. I'm actually very passionate about this, because I think it's not just a fun new technology. I think it's fundamentally going to change the way knowledge workers do their jobs, and knowledge workers use technology. And as MSPs, we're supporting that technology. And so I think it's up to us to effectively manage this technology for them, in addition to identifying opportunities. So But this is a community, right? So I don't want to develop that in a vacuum. So what I'd love for you to do is if you could DM me, um, or you can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me in the Facebook group, whatever, and let me know what you are specifically looking for, and maybe we can just kind of put our heads together, and I can build something that I know the community wants. Keith says, pro tip, if you are not talking to them about it, Microsoft is and provides AI marketing tiers to their partner network. Tiers? I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe assets, Keith? Um, so, and okay, I'm not sure what that means. But yes, they might be trying to kind of weasel their way in there. Microsoft wants every dollar that they can get out of every person they can get, right? So definitely something to keep in mind there. Okay. And then the other part of this, and guys, like I did not, again, create an exhaustive document here. This is a sample AI acceptable use and security policy. It basically includes a lot of the things that I put in that step-by-step guide. Has stuff on data privacy, data handling. It does include the ethical piece to it. But this is a framework, right? This is not something that you're just going to copy and paste and give to your clients as their AI policy. Okay, you're going to take this and you are going to customize it for your clients because their needs are going to be different, right? This is very generic. I did intend it just to be a framework, and you might even need to like this is not technically a legal document because yes, they sign it to make sure that they've seen it and so that you know that they've seen it, but there's not really a whole lot that's binding in here. But there could be situations where you do need an attorney to review this because of a compliance need or some other, again, something special in their business that requires more structure and more compliance around this. And TG is saying that this should be added to CPA's WISP document. Yeah, very likely. And that's something, I'd love to talk to you more about and see if we can kind of put some more detail on this and educate people a little bit more. So TG, thanks very much for engaging tonight. I really do appreciate that. And Degley says there's also a lot of education to be had before implementing Microsoft Copilot. And I just realized I've been doing this whole session with my microphone all the way over there. Come on, guys, tell me when I do this. Okay. I mess up just like everybody else. Hopefully this sounds better now. So again, Degley, sorry. There's also a lot of education to be had before implementing Microsoft 365 Copilot and at least follow Microsoft recommendations. Absolutely. Especially when Copilot is something that if you are reselling them, their Microsoft 365 tenant, you're kind of responsible for Copilot in that case because you're reselling Copilot to them. But you definitely don't want them to just, hey, I have Copilot now. There needs to be some education, some guidance, again, a policy in place because AI just can go off in many directions, and unless it's corralled, it's just not going to be, at the very least, it's not going to be efficient for the business, but it could also have security risk implications as well. All right, so that is what I had on the AI piece tonight. I did post the link to that in the comments. So if you're on YouTube, if you are on Facebook, you should be able to find that link in the comments. If you can't, you should be able to scroll through the Facebook group and find the original post I did last week on that. And definitely welcome your comments on this as well. Okay, So let's get rid of that. And first of all, did you guys have any questions on that? Do you guys have any other comments to add for the benefit of others in terms of the AI topic? Maybe something that you're doing to address this new technology in your clients. And I'll give you guys, because you might be typing, who knows. So I'll go back just for a second and talk a little bit more about ChannelCon. If you're not familiar with ChannelCon, it is CompTIA, which is the Computer Trade Industry Association's it's their big annual event. It's where all of the vendor members, as well as the other individual members from all the different technology companies, whether you're an MSP or whether you work in internal IT somewhere, a lot of different types of companies belong to CompTIA. And so it is the place where you come and get to meet all of these people. It's a little bit different from a regular trade show because all the vendors have the same size booth. It's kind of a level playing field in that aspect. And so you've got the traditional trade show floor piece to it, but then you have a lot of content that's being shared, educational content. We don't have pitches at CompTIA ChannelCon. We have educational content. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I know personally, because I'm involved with the MSP committee and the North America Executive Council, we're doing a session on the MSP guidebook that was published. A lot of really cool stuff in the guidebook. It's one of the probably most well-received pieces of content that we've put out in a while. I know I helped with the vendor management piece, and I actually believe Keith and Degley also worked on some of those as well. So a lot of people in this community worked on that. A lot of people in the community in general worked on that MSP guidebook. So if you can go, it is July 30th through August 1st, and it's in Atlanta. So it's going to be a great time. Yes, it's end of July, beginning of August, so you really should call it Hotlanta. But, I've been there in August. I've survived. You will too. But it's one of the shows that I definitely recommend every year because it is one of the few shows not put on by a vendor, although vendors are there, obviously. But it's always a good show. It's a big show. There's a lot of people there, a lot of different size MSPs, from the really small one-guy shops to the larger MSPs. They all come out for this. So it's definitely something that you should look into. Okay, so that spurred some conversation about ChannelCon. So let's move on to the fun part of tonight's program. And it will probably be a little bit shorter tonight. Let's go back to the slide deck. And because I've gotten this question a couple of times before about, Eric, what's the deal with the pirate theme? Now, All Things MSP does not have technically a pirate theme or pirate branding, but you will notice there's quite a few things that, you can see back here in the background. There's Beware of Pirates. There's a pirate skull hanging there above the couch. There are several other pirate-y things around the office here. But it all kind of came out of, a long time ago, I equated being a pirate to being an entrepreneur. And this is a poster. It's actually hanging up in the stairs leading up to the office here. And it's based on a quote from Steve Jobs, one of the, probably greatest entrepreneurs of our time. He said, "It's better to be a pirate than join the Navy." And I kind of did a play on that. Okay. So I said, okay, what does that look like in pirate terms if I convert that to kind of being an entrepreneur? Pirate ships are faster and more maneuverable. And this is true of most small businesses and startups, is that one of the reasons why they win is because they're much more agile. They don't have that bulk, that weight of a large ship, AKA a large enterprise. Pirate ships run lean and mean. This has more to do with the financial aspect of it, right? They're scrappy and they do things more creatively, in my opinion, to accomplish things that again, combined with that agility, it gives them a huge advantage over the older, more mature businesses. Pirates don't wear uniforms, they have style. And one of the things I love about this industry is that every MSP, almost every MSP, does this differently. Keith, Degley, I know that you guys do things a little bit differently, and that's the norm. It's not, something weird. We're all weird, and that's what makes this industry kind of fun. But it also makes us more creative. This was more to the creative side of things. And then pirates share a goal, not a job. How many of you, I know many of you have probably worked in larger businesses before where people were punching a clock. And you just don't see that as much at an MSP or in any, startup type of environment. They share a goal, not a job. So they're not just coming in and punching in. They actually want to get somewhere. There's a destination in mind. And again, another difference between entrepreneurs and just people who have a job. Pirates are not lawless, they have a code. So that's just, I put that in there mainly because, Pirates of the Caribbean, but no, it also comes down to the point where we don't do these things just randomly. We have a code to which we try and adhere to. And I think this came out even more when we started talking about cybersecurity and standards, because I think there are a lot of MSPs out there who are trying to do their best. They're trying to adhere to maybe NIST or CIS. They're also trying to do things like the Pumpkin Plan for the business operations side, or EOS for the business operations side. And so we don't have strict rules, but we kind of do have some general frameworks that we kind of abide by in this industry. And then pirates don't quit when their leg gets blown off. They put a peg on it and keep going. I think this is one of the most identifiable factors of an entrepreneur, right? And to an extent, a lot of times their team, right? Because they will go that extra mile. They don't stop when things get kind of dicey. They just keep going because they know that the end of the journey is worth it. And in a lot of cases, the journey itself is worth it. All right. Degley says the fact that most of us do things differently, it opens many opportunities to collaborate with one another. That's absolutely true. And I think it's one of the things that makes this industry as different as it is the fact that because we don't do things the same, we are much more likely to give away a client that doesn't meet our profile, right? Or we're willing to work with another MSP that does something that we don't do. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different examples that I've seen of that happening, of MSPs in the same city being more collaborative than competitive. So a lot of great things that I love about this community. I love about this industry. It's one of the reasons I do all things MSP, is to just get as many opinions out there as I can get out there, not just my own. That's why I love doing these live streams, and I love the fact that we had a lot of comments tonight. I really do appreciate that. That is, by the way, that is the last slide I had. I really did only have 2 slides. So the pirate thing, that's kind of the background to the pirate thing. You'll kind of see those philosophies in a lot of the things that I do. It also does not hurt that one of my favorite YouTubers, who happens to be a photography filmmaker type of YouTuber, has a separate channel called Pete's Pirate Life and he sells a lot of pirate merch, and it's expensive. I get poor every time he brings out a new merchandise drop. So anyway, any questions? Not about the pirate thing, because I don't think that's probably question worthy. But if you have any questions about the AI piece, anything like that, I am going to go ahead and bring up, just so that everybody knows, that at 8 o'clock, Uncle Marv tonight is having Michelle Accardi from Lion Guard. That's probably going to be a great show. I love Michelle, love Lion Guard, love the things that they're doing over there. I think they just had their first show, which is awesome. And so really, I'll probably tune into that while I'm doing some work here on the back end. So if you have a chance, 8 o'clock, go check out Uncle Marv. He's got a great show. I actually got to see Marvin at IT Nation Secure. We were kind of sharing a podcast booth slash table, and we both had opportunities to just interview a lot of great people. Some people from ConnectWise, MSPs walking by, vendors. I'm still working. I think I did 22 interviews, and I think we've released 2 so far. Got a third one just done today, and it's because looks like I have found a video editor, folks, which is going to make the content flow a lot more smoothly, in the next coming weeks and hopefully years. So again, thanks so much for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the comments even after the show, or you can always reach out to me. If you're not a member of the Facebook group yet, not a member of the All Things MSP crew, by the way, the reason I call you a crew goes kind of back to the pirate thing. And, go to atmsp.link/Facebook, join the Facebook group, or you can follow us on LinkedIn. If you don't do Facebook, we have a Facebook or a LinkedIn page, so you can follow that. We post pretty much everything that we post to the Facebook group gets posted to the LinkedIn page as well. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, first of all, the YouTube channel is the best place to watch this live stream, but we are 100 subscribers away from 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Check out the AI step-by-step guide as well as the AI acceptable use policy. And I will see you in the next live stream. Have a great evening, everybody.